So let's move on and take a look at another way that the checkweigher can help us to improve our process that we have going on. One of the nice things about the CW90 options is that it has the ability to automatically print. So as you're performing lots of check weighing applications, lots of product is going across your scale throughout the day, and you need to capture with print all of those transactions. You can do this automatically, so you save time with folks pressing the button or forgetting to press the button for that matter. And also you can bypass a little bit of wear and tear on all the button pressing that you might have to do by having it automatically print for you. And there are a few different options for setting this up, and we want to talk about all of them so you understand the difference between them. By default, the unit is set up by demand, so somebody would have to press the print button. So right now you see we've got our 5 pounds on the scale. If I wanted to capture this now, I'd have to press the print button. And so you see over on the laptop there, we've captured that weight value. But we don't want to have somebody press print all the time. We want to do this automatically. So let's just go ahead and we'll take our weight off the scale, and we're going to hop into the menu, and we're going to configure this in 3 different ways. The first way we're going to take a look at is wait for standstill. So when I come down here, I'm going to go into my serial menu. I'm hooked up to port 2. So I'm going to come down and take a look at the trigger. What triggers this particular action? And so when we take a look at this, there's our default demand. There's some other options in here, but I'm going to set this as wait for standstill. I'm going to hit enter to accept that, and then we'll go out and save our settings here. And much like the name sounds, wait for standstill, the system is going to wait until the scale is at a standstill or a stable state. It's going to be looking for these stability triangles to be lit up, and at that point it will automatically generate a print. Let's clear our screen here. And so when we place our 5 pounds on the scale, it goes stable. You see the print automatically shows up. Now, that's pretty nice. But if there's any type of motion on the scale, this is going to what we call rearm the scale. So because it's generated a print, it now needs to have some other kind of change before it will initiate another print. And in a wait for standstill setup, all you have to do is go into motion, and now it's been rearmed. So, if somebody bumps the scale a little bit, you see it generated another print. But I didn't remove the product from the scale, so now I've captured 2 prints for the same product. Even if I go a little bit higher and I come back, I'm going to generate another print. And so sometimes this can be a problem for folks because they've generated way more prints than they actually want. So let's take a look at another way to set up our print feature. We'll remove the weight here, and we'll go ahead and clear our laptop screen. So we have a fresh setup. I'm going to go back into the menu, and we'll go back down to our serial ports here. Go to port 2, we'll come down, and what's going to trigger this? This time we'll take a look at the target setup. We'll hit enter here, and we'll go back up and save our settings. So our target weight is 5 pounds. And so I expect when I get to my target, 5 pounds, it goes stable, it generates a print that we've seen over there. Now, if I go into motion, if I do a little movement here and we come back to 5 pounds, notice that there's no print. I'm not getting that additional print. Even though we went into motion, there wasn't enough of a change in order to rearm the scale or that print setup. And so when we're using this target type of auto print setup, we have to use another parameter in conjunction with this. It's called the threshold. So we set a threshold, and when the weight value goes below that threshold, that's what rearms everything. So what I'm going to do, and by default the threshold is set for 0. So if I remove the weight here, I go back to 0. Now the scale, the print action has been rearmed. Place the weight back on the scale, and there you see our print command show up again. Now, I want you to pay close attention to when the print took place. Once I got into my accepted range and went stable, I received a print. Let's take a look at the third type of setup, and that is what we call the last stable weight. So we're going to hop back into the menu, go over to our settings for the port. We see what triggers that, and we see this L for last and STAB for stable. So it's the last stable weight. And we'll accept that, and we'll go up and save everything here. And then we'll clear the screen for a fresh start. So now, again, my target weight is still 5 pounds. I'll put my 5 pounds up here. And I'm stable. But notice there's no print. On the target weight print setup, it prints immediately once you get a stable weight within your target. Whereas the last stable weight, maybe I place a little bit of weight on the scale, but you know what, really I'd like a little bit more than that. So maybe I go up a little bit, I get a stable weight there, I come back down, now I got another stable weight here. I still don't have anything there, but it's going to grab whatever the last stable weight was. So whether I have, if I'm adjusting the scale and getting things just right, I want to have a little bit more on there. When I remove the weight, now I get my print up on the screen. Okay? So depending on your application and when you want those print actions to take place, immediately upon achieving your accepted weight, or after everything's done and you are removing the product from the scale, if you want to capture it at that time, then you would use last stable. So hopefully after seeing some of the differences in how these are set up for range and the target weight and the target percent and the various auto printing capabilities, you're able to make some good decisions for your application.